What's going on, everybody? Chef Billy Parisi here. Thanks for stopping in today. Obviously, it looks a little bit different. And I want to talk about one of my absolute favorite things. And I'm so glad I get to talk about this because you know what? You've been asking this question a ton. How do you plate up food? Like, what are those little details that need to happen so that my food and my plates look beautiful, like a work of art? I cannot tell you how happy I am to address this. It is hands down my favorite thing to do. Yes, I love cooking and baking and prepping and doing all those things, but ever since I've been in the restaurant industry, plating up food has hands down, I can't say it enough, been my absolute favorite part of cooking and presenting food. But I do want to talk about one more thing really quick. I also been getting a lot of questions about why do you keep calling me homie? I'm not calling you homie, I'm calling you comey, comey with a C. A commis is short for a commis chef, which is a French term, okay? It is a chef in training that follows the executive head chef around to learn the intricacies of each little stage of the kitchen. So in the end, when his on-the-job training is done, essentially he'll be a chef. So that is to you, to all my followers, to everyone who subscribes, I call you my commis. You're following me around, hopefully you're learning a ton, and in the end you're gonna be this amazing chef, right? This amazing home cook. So just to set the record straight, it's a commis, not a homie. Yeah, I'm a 90s kid. We said homie a lot, so maybe it's a combination of a little bit, but I'm also calling you my commis. So with that being said, let's talk about plating up food. I can't tell you just how important this is. We eat with our eyes. I mean, ask yourself, right? When everyone's out at the restaurant, they set that plate of food down. What does everybody do? Oh my, yours looks amazing, mine looks amazing, that looks amazing, right? I mean, you eat with your eyes first, and it is art, it's beautiful. And I'll say that anything that's been creative in me kind of comes from my mom, actually. She has a degree in interior design, and she's big into architectural design. When I was younger, like 11, 12, 13 years old, we'd go to these art camps, learn how to paint better and draw and color and all those sorts of things. And when I was 13, I got my job in my first restaurant. This is where it all started. Pretty sure that wasn't legal back then. But I was a dishwasher. I remember the first night I was working there. And I definitely had that sort of Anthony Bourdain Kitchen Confidential experience where I just idolized these chefs. Like, these guys were my straight up heroes. Loved them. I remember all their names. Rob, Murph, Herb, loved these guys. And Nick was awesome too. That first night when I was washing dishes, I would sneak a peek over to where the line is, where they're cooking. And they would sort of present that food up in the hot window for the server to take out to the guests that they were serving. And I would just see it and I'm like, oh my gosh, all those colors, all those contrasts, like that's art, that's beautiful. And I recognize it probably because I was in those art camps during that time. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is a way to present art, but you get to eat it too, right? You get to enjoy it immediately. Well, you know, picture on the wall, you get to enjoy forever. You get to enjoy food immediately, which is awesome. And I fell in love like right off the bat. And I knew what I wanted to do within a few months of working there. So when I was 13, 14 years old, I knew I wanted to be a chef. I knew I wanted to go to culinary school. Kind of weird, but you know when you know what I'm saying? So I want to take this time to obviously just talk about the intricacies of plating food and what it takes and what it looks like and what goes through my brain when I'm sort of plating up. You know how I always do that, we're gonna plate up in slow-mo? Yeah, that thing. I'm gonna show you what it takes. But first, the evolution of plating up food has changed drastically. And it kind of goes in, I would say, like in decade spurts, all right? So when I was in culinary school, way back in the day, yeah, dude, hair's getting long, right? Need a cut. But I do have hair, for all you people who are wondering if I'm balding or not. I got plenty of hair. Anyways, back to plating up food. Like I said, it goes into decade spurts. So when I was in culinary school, the idea was to stack food really high. Maybe you remember this in the early 2000s to maybe like 2010. Like, you would see how high you could get food. And I had this great chef in culinary school, Chef Santos, who would always say color, texture, flavor. And he had this awesome accent. He would always say texture and flavor and color and all of these different components that made up sort of the beauty of the dish. And we would stack it as high as we could, and you would set it down. It's like you look down and you see it from a side profile, and it's like 3,000 feet tall, and that was just what we did. And then over time, and I would say 2010 to 2020, you start to see this evolution of, not fanning out on a plate, but using the plate as like your canvas, and you're sort of presenting your art that way. I don't know which one I like more. I think it's just, trends change, and so you kind of adapt to those changes. Now for me, if I was in a restaurant, I would just obviously go with whatever the trend says to go with. But I'm showing you how to plate up home food. So the important thing to remember is, just like at a restaurant, you eat with your eyes, and you want to see everything that's in your food. So to start, let's talk about a salad. Super simple, right? I don't like a salad that's been completely mixed together. And the reason why is, one, it doesn't look all that great. You mostly just get those leafy greens, and you're missing out on all those delicious little ingredients in the inside. I like to put them all on top. Okay, we know it's a salad, obviously. We know the salad bowl, we know the tongs right next to it. So what I like to do is sort of fan things out all over the top of the bowl, so I can see the ingredients before I get into anything. That lets people know, like, oh, there's the onion side. I'm not gonna eat that. That's for my wife, she doesn't like onions. Oh, I see the beans or the corn or the tomatoes or whatever. I like those things. I'm gonna go take more of that. I think it's just helpful so that people get what they want, as opposed to eating something and then that first bite you're like, yep, onions, that was pretty hot, don't like that. Try fanning everything out with salads, presenting the ingredients on top, okay, in certain different patterns. I mean, there's no right way or wrong way. I sort of sometimes go in a strip on the side with ingredients, and then I might put some other ingredients on the other side, and then sort of just put them next to each other, presenting all of the ingredients. Make it easy for the people who are eating it. That's a big thing too. Make it easy for them. Even when it comes to something as simple as a steak, all right, a piece of steak. Once you've cooked it, whether it's grilled or in a pan, I oftentimes just hit it with a little bit of butter and then a garnish, okay? I like the butter to be there, again, to present to people like, oh, there's butter on top, and then you can ask a question, what's in that butter? Oh, it's loaded with lemon zest and roasted garlic and shallots and blah, 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 blah. But you want the people to see it. You don't want to mask it. You don't want to hide it. You want them to see everything. And then for garnishes, like those little greens on top, there's definitely an old school restaurant thing to that. Like, gosh, in the late 90s, you just killed everything with chopped parsley. That was just what you did. And it's probably, I would say, even in the 70s and 80s, you did it too, where they laid that little piece of kale. Remember that? Anyone else remember that in the 90s, late 80s? That little piece of kale that went on the edge of the plate? I don't know what that was about. I do like to finish things with fresh herbs, whether it's parsley or chives or something called fine herbs. Fine herbs, I guess would be maybe more correct, which is a combination of finely minced chervil, chives, thyme, and parsley. It's a way to enhance the flavor of anything. And remember, you always finish with fresh herbs. So it's a nice little touch, nice little sort of freshness touch. You can also zest to finish. Cheese is a great finisher. You've got to remember those contrasts of colors. You want the darks with the lights and the, remember your color wheel? Yeah, you remember that thing, the color wheel that's got the opposing colors on the opposite side, but when you put them together, they go really, really well. The blues and the orange, not that we're cooking blue food, and the purple and the golds, but think about those things and use those things when you are plating up food. All right, let's do a couple more. Chicken. This totally depends, okay, on what it is you're making. So like in a chicken cacciatore, I like to just serve it in the sort of rondo in the pot as is, just sort of to present that forward and finish it with herbs. And you could grate on a little cheese if you want. I didn't in this case, but you absolutely can. Sometimes just however it comes out of the oven is incredibly beautiful, and you don't want to mess with it because it looks so good. Why take the time to put it on a plate? Leave it as is. I like to serve almost everything buffet style. I don't like to really plate up food for someone, because what if they don't like something that I'm putting on the plate? Let them do it. So I like to serve big sort of family style portions of people, if that makes sense. Even something like, gosh, tacos, okay? Like I did these Baja fish tacos. You got your tortilla, you lay down your fish. I got a little bit of cabbage. I use 2 different colors just so you can get those contrasts. I use green and purple so you can put those things together. Then I hit it with red salsa. I mean, look at those color combinations. Beautiful, right? And then with a little drizzle of the sauce on top. You want to be able to see everything. I can't say it enough. You want to know what's in your food, especially before you serve it, okay? Super important, super, super important. And then the last thing, let's see, what else have I done that's pasta, okay? I obviously have made a ton of pasta, and there's a couple different ways to do that. While I do say I like to serve it up family style, I'm gonna completely contradict what I just said when it comes to pasta, because man, when you got a big old bowl and you just got that beautiful colored pasta in the center, it's gorgeous. I love having that big old white plate. You see that I use white or black a lot. One of my favorite chefs, Thomas Keller, he always said nothing sets off the color of food like a white plate, and I completely agree. It makes food completely pop. Wrap around tongs, or I get one of the carving forks, sort of shove that in the pasta, and I roll it up, and then I take it off, and then I pull that pasta right off of that fork, and it stands up nicely. Even if it falls down, it's still beautiful. And pasta, you've got fresh herbs, cracked pepper, even cheese, of course. Just remember all of those simple little details. You're not wanting to put garnishes on that are gonna change the flavor, okay? You just cooked this masterpiece. You want to enhance the flavor or keep it neutral and let colors contrast. Like when I finish with herbs and parsley, it's because maybe something's brown and it needs a little color, it needs a little life. And even with cheese, cheese, I don't know about you, but cheese makes everything better. Sorry if you're dairy free. It just does. And a lot of it, I know this is gonna sound crazy to you too, a lot of it kind of just comes when it's together. Sure, I think about what are those contrasting colors ahead of time, but a lot of it just kind of comes together. What is this gonna look like? Am I gonna sort of fan it out, maybe stack a few little things on the top? I mean, there are a million things that I could do. Even with the chicken piccata, right? I just kind of throw the sauce on top, hit it with some herbs, boom. It looks pretty, it's simple, but it's beautiful. I mean, no other way around it. So in the end, I want you to know this. Use white plates. If you got black, that's cool too. Use white plates. It makes the food pop. Remember your color contrasts, okay? And remember to use as many different colors as possible so that your food really, really pops, especially on that white plate. And I don't care if you stack it or fan it out on the plate. That's totally up to you. It depends on how you're serving. If you're serving a plate up dinner, maybe you've plated up that food already and that's how you're gonna present. But on the other end, if you're serving family style, put it on a nice platter, spread it out, let people know the ingredients that are in there so they can visually see it. It's good to see things. It's very, very good to see sauces and compotes and all of those things. And holy smokes, I'm out of breath. That's a ton of talking. You should definitely check out this video because you'll love it and you'll see some great plating techniques in there. I'm sure of it, and in slow motion. We'll see you on there.